Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a thought experiment that is just absolutely mind-bending. We're looking at a documentary blueprint called Echoes from Tomorrow, and let me tell you, this premise forces us to totally rethink the very fabric of our reality. We're talking about questioning the linear nature of time, human psychology, and where we're actually headed as a collective species. This isn't just some hypothetical sci-fi concept. It's a deep dive into how our expectations for tomorrow literally build our today.
Okay, so picture this. You wake up, you roll over to grab your phone, and boom, there's a global alert. But this isn't a breaking news update about an election or the weather. It's a verified, unified broadcast taking over every single frequency and screen on Earth. And the craziest part? The origin point isn't another country or some distant exoplanet. It's coming from the end of our own century, the year 2100. Just let that scenario sink in for a second. What on earth happens to society the morning after we get an actual, tangible echo from our own tomorrow? Suddenly, the abstract idea of the future isn't just an idea anymore. It's a literal, present reality.
And look, we aren't talking about a burst of random radio static or a weird cosmic anomaly either. This scenario proposes that the message contains incredibly vital, perfectly decipherable information that literally maps out our next several decades. It's a direct communication telling us exactly what is waiting for us down the timeline. It's like, imagine reading the final definitive page of a massive mystery novel before you've even finished chapter 1. The implications of getting the answers to the test before we've even taken it are staggering. Every global crisis, every tech breakthrough, every political shift, all of it laid out in uncompromising detail.
Section 1. The sudden global arrival. So, the moment this anomaly just pops out of the void, the initial reaction isn't going to be awe, right? It's going to be a frantic, total scramble. Picture the sheer chaotic energy in observatories and data centers across the globe as routine monitoring instantly turns into this rigorous, desperate scientific analysis. You'd have experts jumping across time zones, working around the clock to trace the origin, crack the encrypted data, and honestly, trying their hardest to debunk it as an elaborate hoax. But as the science community hits a wall of undeniable proof, the government authentication attempts kick in. Think classified briefings, lockdown intelligence agencies, and panicked world leaders trying to figure out if this is an unprecedented cyber attack or a genuine time-shifted communication. The contrast here is stark. You've got these quiet, intensely tense labs dealing with impossible data, while the outside world is basically edging toward complete panic. Section 2. Curiosity, Fear, and Reaction.
The second the existence of this transmission leaks to the public, because, let's face it would, we'd see a massive psychological divide fracture the global population. On one side, you have this almost insatiable curiosity, people dreaming of massive, accelerated technological leaps. Could this message hold the blueprint for limitless clean energy, the cure for our most devastating diseases, the definitive fix for climate change? But running right alongside that optimism is a deeply paralyzing fear. Widespread panic over what the future inevitably holds. If the message details a looming environmental collapse or a devastating global conflict, the sheer terror of knowing our doom is certain could easily fracture society before the event even happens. Would we actually unify for the promised utopia, or would we tear ourselves apart trying to outrun a predicted collapse?
Section 3. The Science of Time Travel. Now, we normally experience time as this unyielding arrow, moving strictly from past to future. But within established theoretical physics, time is actually way more malleable. The math behind general relativity, specifically this concept called closed time-like curves, suggests space-time can warp so severely that it loops back on itself. Now, to be clear, we are not talking about a physical machine transporting human beings backwards. We're looking at the possibility of transmitting pure data. Under some very specific, extreme cosmological conditions, the equations tell us that information itself could theoretically cascade backward along these curves, arriving at a point in time before it was ever sent.
So how does this actually work? Well, the mechanics rely on concepts at the absolute edge of our current understanding. First off, the intense bending of the space-time fabric. If mass and gravity dictate that curvature, maybe an immensely advanced civilization figured out a way to fold it, bridging decades in an instant. Then, there's the possibility of information passing through theoretical wormholes. If you could stabilize a traversable wormhole, a massive data burst could theoretically slip right through the throat of the anomaly into the past. And finally, advanced manipulation of quantum physics. What's super interesting here is that modern experiments with quantum entanglement already hint at bizarre elements of retrocausation, where an action in the present seemingly alters a particle's state in the past. So perhaps our descendants in 2100 haven't broken the laws of physics at all. They've simply mastered the quantum realm.
Section 4. Excitement and Controversy.
Receiving empirical data from the future? I mean, that is the holy grail of scientific discovery. It completely validates centuries of theoretical physics and accelerates human knowledge exponentially. But for human society as a whole, it is deeply philosophically terrifying. If we possess a confirmed historical record of our own future, it triggers the absolute ultimate paradox of free will. Think about this thought experiment. If the message definitively states that a specific city falls to a disaster, and we use that knowledge to completely evacuate it, does that sudden massive migration actually trigger the very collapse the message warned us about? Knowing the outcome fundamentally alters the variables. Our intellect naturally craves the discovery and the truth, but the entire architecture of our society is built on the reality of undetermined choice. A pre-written destiny kind of unravels the whole thing.
This entire thought experiment really forces us to confront a reality sitting right at the heart of human ambition and fear. So, I want to leave you with this. If you possess the exact, unalterable timeline of humanity's future, what would you actually do with that information? Would you share it with a world that might tear itself apart in response? Would you attempt to hide it? If you tried to change a tragedy, would you risk setting it right into motion? It's a mystery that forces us to look inward just as much as we look forward. Keep asking those big, thought-provoking questions, and until next time, keep exploring the unknown.